Destiny, what are your thoughts on Tipster?
I don't even know what or who that is. What's a tipster?
Best
Here's my
political
dude.
streamer I know, dude.
Oh, wait, who?
Tipster,
Never heard of it.
dude.
Is it a meme? Am I getting memed right now? What is a tipster?
No, he's a really good political streamer.
Oh.
He was
Kinda
a big
big on
fan
the-
of Keffels.
Big on the left. Yeah.
What platform is he on?
I think they dated.
He moved to Twitch because you can ban people from chat and then they can't see your stream anymore.
Oh, then that's probably why I don't know, because I don't follow any of the Twitch stuff, so. Because I'm banned. Excommunicadoed.
Yeah.
Willie, part
Is
of
it-
my
You should check him out
part of
though.
my-
He'd be good for like a discussion like this.
Okay.
part of my reservation about like 230 being repealed and like government involvement as well is just like I don't really want the government to have a hand in like what private companies can and can't do. And like on one hand, like I acknowledge the fact that obviously like these websites are so big, they basically act as like you know, a public forum in a way.
Mhm.
And like for that reason, I would support like in the interest of like consumers, like breaking up like monopolies like Google or stuff like that. Like splitting Google and YouTube I think will be really good.
Based.
But like part of the problem once you get a lot more like government involvement than that, as far as like deciding like this can happen or this can happen, is I feel like it can infringe on our rights. And
They're just saying
like,
all
for
of it has
example-
to happen, though, Tom. That's all they're saying.
the thing is like not all of it has to happen, but like I just don't really want it to happen at all. Like because I don't once again I don't want
I want all the good stuff, but all the bad stuff inconveniencing me.
Well, no, shut the fuck up.
yeah.
That's
the thing
true,
is,
though.
like-
That is it.
I agree with that, but like you rarely get that.
Yeah, I know.
I think, well, aren't you, like, you sound like you'd like the Canada law where you have to talk about Canada. Did you know that Canada passed a law if you're a YouTuber, you've got to, like, masturbate to the fucking Canadian flag for 5 minutes every time you make a video? How crazy is that?
way.
Yeah.
That's what you guys
Yeah,
want.
it was
That country
terrible,
is a
dude.
fucking shit.
Yeah, that's what you want. Okay,
That's why
fuck
Tom
you.
left.
Okay, well, listen, if you guys are going to shoot the shit here, okay, give me 40 minutes and I can go through J6. Yeah?
Let's fuck it up, dude. Let's
All right,
go.
fine.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, let's run
Here,
this
I'm
down.
just gonna get my charger.
Yeah, go for it. Okay.
Go ahead.
We're going to run this guy down. Jesus. Okay.
Dude, we're gonna be rioting for this fucking content. Let's go.
Good. Yeah, I know. Riveting stuff.
And ultimately, like I don't know, I think it could lead to a lot of problems. You know, part of my thing with like
Tom,
the way that the internet works right now is like it's not even close to perfect, but it could get so much worse. You know.
Tom, you're probably right. Where there is the serious risk of, and I think some companies even threatened it if they took away 230, was like essentially what's the fucking word? They were like, oh, we're just going to moderate our site even more than to get certified creators, like all that shit.
Mhm.
And that would obviously be the worst case scenario.
Like we would just be we'd
totally
turn into like
legally be able to
Amazon
do that.
Prime.
Yeah, exactly. That is something that could happen, and that's why it's probably safer to leave 230, because 230 in the end of the day like,
Amazon
isn't a
Prime?
bad thing.
Like
Like
the,
we would just turn
the
it. We would
shopping
turn into.
application?
No, Prime Video. Sorry.
Prime
But
Video.
basically YouTube would turn into like you have to be like an approved person to
Yeah.
be here, that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Oh.
You have to be like
Because
fucking
the
Mr.
companies
Beast
would
or
still
Lily
want to
Singer,
moderate it,
Linus Tech
Oh.
Tips.
Oh. Okay.
so they would have to like over moderate it. Like every piece of content would need to be watched before going on.
You know what I fucking meant, Nick. You're just
No,
just feeling
because if
bullshit
you're talking
this whole
about Prime
stream.
Video, well, like you're comparing it to like Netflix and stuff is the same way, right? It's like a
Did anyone notice when that guy said the term jiggering? What did that mean?
what the fuck did that mean,
I-
bro?
Dude,
then he
that
said
was so
gaping
funny. I
right
think all
after,
three
like,
of
what
us
the
smiled.
Sounds like you've been
All
watching
these
too much. You've been
videos
watching too
are
much
fucking
Leafy,
cracking up.
okay? Your mind's in the gutter, kid.
Bro,
Is
your
jigger
whole
a
chat
word?
was writing gaping all the way down, dude.
Yeah, because I gaped some dude last night on Twitter.
You what?
I gaped some dude.
It's fucking gay.
It,
You mean you got to fucking own
it was for him. Okay.
Oh shit.
Gape maxing,
Wow.
true.
Yeah, true.
Well, someone's reading chat. That's fucked up. I haven't been looking at
Yeah,
chat.
Nick. So you're like you're listening to the plebeians, huh?
Nick is
So I got
streaming
like a
right now.
mosaic view. Yeah.
The thing is, I've had Nick's stream open, watching the viewers go down. So like, who the fuck cares?
Good.
Dude, I've been trying to keep them in by adding kinetic sand. And
Aw.
Black said he didn't like our stream. He said it's bad.
Who said that?
I mean, Josh.
Wait, you guys are
Oh, black.
streaming too?
Wait, who's Josh?
I'm not streaming.
Bo Black's your friend.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah. So what's your beef with Bo Blacks, dude? I
Oh
don't get
God,
it.
no!
I don't have any
No,
beef with
okay,
Bo
let's not
Blacks.
go
Please,
down it if it's a
please,
whole
no.
fucking thing. Then
This is such a bad question.
it's okay. I don't. If it's gonna go through a
Bo
whole
Blacks
fucking
is
top
awesome.
thing,
I was gonna get an artist
not
to make
sure
this
about
more
that.
appealing to Bo Blacks, but I couldn't find anybody who wanted to draw Donald
No.
Trump as Pokemon for the entire fucking thing, so he wouldn't have any interest in this. I'm sorry.
That's
You know what? That's the least bad thing you said about him. So
that.
Oh, really?
So that's. So you're just making fun of his superpower.
you know what? Really, just keep going. See what happens, bro.
Please,
keep
Willie,
fucking going.
please make this
Just
more
go.
difficult for us.
Why are
Just
you guys so
go.
mean? Why are you bullying Bo Blacks so much?
You're bullying him, dude. Bo Blacks is my favorite commentary channel.
Yeah, he's a special dude. He's very special. Bo Blacks is so special. If we were to take a vacation to the UK and I were to bully him, I'm pretty sure I'd get arrested for a hate crime. So, because you can't, it's hate speech to bully retarded people or whatever. Fuck you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, fuck
Yeah,
you.
see, I got
Yeah,
it.
fuck
I
you.
got it.
No,
Okay,
fuck you.
no,
That was a
dude.
good. That was a good joke.
No
Fuck
wonder why
you.
he's gotta stick
Oh
to
It
my
was
God,
good. I
man.
was holding it in. I was holding it
wasn't
Fuck
in.
you, Tom. They were all these guys look to
holding
you
it
to Yeah, fuck you. Okay.
They looked at me. Ha ha
I would
ha.
never look at Tom.
Yeah.
Like I was just on stream with Fulmanco explaining his joke afterwards.
Fuck you.
Gee.
Well, you've been
Jesus.
looking at me for a long time. I disagree. You've been looking for a long time. Okay. I see the gazes I get.
Willie, do you stand up? Do you not have a chair?
He's got a standing desk. It's good for the legs.
I'm so sweaty, guys. I just had to.
He
start
doesn't have a
standing. I'm dying.
chair. He doesn't have a computer. He writes everything on a fucking pen and paper like a retard.
I
He's,
do.
like,
This whole
living in the-
notebook is just Boogie. All of these
living in the
pages.
20th century.
All of these pages are just Boogie.
You're writing a diary about him, basically.
Jesus
at that point.
Christ.
Yeah, look, it's
You
all
don't
the
even have
time
video
stamp.
links.
That's the
Well,
diary.
you
from
write.
Mr. T.
You write down
Lexify,
the
girl.
fucking. Do you write
Yeah,
the
it's-
link out?
It's no. I don't write the link. I write
You should
the title of
autograph
the
that
video.
and post it to eBay and then sell it for like $20.
Why would anyone buy this dog shit, dude? There's
Why didn't
like
say
a
it would be
pile of
expensive?
there's a pile of notebooks. Like it's probably stands like up to my fucking like hip of just shit over the years. Every single one.
You're gonna leave it to your kids. They're gonna know the lore.
These
Okay.
are the manifestos.
Fuck off. Do this. Okay. All right. We're going to blast through this. All right. Okay. Donald Trump's tweets. I'm just going to go from January 5th into the events of J6. Okay. All right. January 5th. You can find this. I'm just reading these down. On January 5th, Donald Trump tweets, pleased to announce that Kay Loeffler and basically Senator David Perdue have joined our great hashtag Stop the Steal group of senators. They will fight the ridiculous Electoral College certification of Biden. How do you certify numbers that have now been proven to be wrong and, in many cases, fraudulent? He also tweeted out, the vice president has the power to reject fraudulently chosen electors. This is not within, and then I added this comment, this is not within the powers of the vice president. And then he also tweeted out, quote, I hope the Democrats, and even more importantly, the weak and ineffective rhino section of the Republican Party are looking at the thousands of people pouring into D.C. They won't stand for a landslide election victory to be stolen. And then the next three tweets are on January 6th, but it's like the night of. They're like at midnight, 12:30 a.m., 1 a.m. or whatever. You can click and find the times. But he tweets out first, if Vice President Mike Pence comes through for us, we will win the presidency. Many states want to decertify the mistake they made in certifying incorrect and even fraudulent numbers in a process not approved by their state legislatures, which it must be. Mike can send it back. He tweets out, states want to correct their votes, which they now know were based on irregularities and fraud. Plus, corrupt process never received legislative approval. All Mike Pence has to do is send them back to the states, and we win. Do it, Mike. This is a time for extreme courage. And then one more tweet, in all caps, the Republican Party, and more importantly, our country needs the presidency more than ever before. The power of the veto. Stay strong. Okay.
What is that? What is he implying? The power of the veto.
Just like the
is that,
president can
power the
veto,
president
so
has?
you have to have the president, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right, day of January 6th, the speech at the Ellipse. Trump's team chose the Ellipse for the location of the rally on January 6th. It was about a mile's walk from there to the Capitol. It featured a variety of speakers, many of them continuing to make the same false assertions of voter fraud and rigged Dominion voting machines. Many of the speakers also reiterated the same pressure for lawmakers and Pence to overturn the electoral vote results. The event was set to begin at 9 a.m., with Trump finishing his speech at 12:16 p.m. According to the Secret Service Office of Inspector General report, about 28,000 people had entered the secured area of the rally, with many more staying outside. I think 20, 30, 40, 50,000 is hard to know, but around 28,000 went through the secured area. There's a lineup of like all the speakers who were...
The secured area means the building.
No. This is at the Ellipse outside. It's like where he gave the speech before they all went to the Capitol.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the speaker lineup, Paula White came on. She led the group in prayer. Kylie Jane Kremer, she was the person in charge of the rally. She worked for Women for America First. I think she was when they got the permits. Mo Brooks came on and spoke. He's a U.S. representative for Alabama. He gave a speech to fire up the crowd to tell them to, quote, start taking down names and kicking ass, end quote, while making constant comparisons to 1776 and the fight to establish early America. He also challenged Republicans in Congress to stand up and challenge the election certification. It was later reported, in a later report, he said that he admitted to wearing body armor at his speech because he was tipped off by the FBI of potential risks beforehand. If you want, you can click that. Let's see, he did that. The next speaker was Katrina Pearson. She's a former national campaign spokesperson and Trump media surrogate. In her speech, she also applied more pressure to Republican lawmakers to flip the vote in Congress during the certification, saying, quote, we are going to fight for our president, end quote, and that every politician who turns their back on Trump will, quote, lose their seats, end quote, in 2022. She also runs through a bunch of false voter fraud allegations. Amy Kremer comes on next. She's the women's something, I don't know, WFAF founder / chair, TeaPartyPatriots.org national coordinator, co-founder of Women for Trump. She goes on to speak about how foreign influence was stealing the election for the American public, including from Russia and Ukraine, and that Georgia was a corrupt state for refusing to investigate their voter fraud claims. She also alleged the exact same false Pennsylvania and Georgia and other voter fraud claims, again, to the crowd. She fires up the crowd, telling them that the election was stolen from Trump and that they are, quote, here to save the republic, end quote. Vernon Jones is a state representative from Georgia. He comes up and he says he encouraged people to fight once more in the rally and to, quote, take our country back, end quote. Texas Attorney General Paxton and Senator Paxton come up. They, telling their fighters. It was a short thing. I think they were up there for literally 60 seconds. Eric Trump and his wife come up. They come up, fire up the crowd. They reinforce that Trump called on them to, quote, descend on D.C., end quote, and that Biden clearly lost the election. His wife also comes on to say, quote, we are in this fight to the bitter end, and we are going to take our country back, end quote. Donald Trump Jr. also applies more pressure to Congress, saying that lawmakers, quote, need to stand up, end quote, while they march to the Capitol. Some Kimberly Guilfoyle, she comes up. I think she speaks for a little bit. Wait, I think that was supposed to be Eric Trump before, but Trump Jr. comes up now, the Donald Trump son that we're more familiar with. Quote, you could be a hero or you could be a zero, end quote. Quote, choose wisely, end quote, and quote, fight, end quote, were repeated by Trump Jr. at the event. Again, encouraging lawmakers to refuse to certify the election. He says if the lawmakers don't fight, quote, we're coming for you, end quote. Maybe I should make like a video, I guess, like compiling this. I don't know how long it would be, but it's interesting to note that Trump Jr. opens his speech saying that they're not protesting like Democrats and burning down buildings. And then a few minutes later, he'll go on to say that they need to act more like Democrats when they protest. There's a part in his speech where he's like, we're not like the Democrats. We're better than that. And then I think like 1 minute later, it's like, we need to start protesting like Democrats. It's just funny. Madison Cawthorn rolls up, U.S. representative from North Carolina. He claims that the lawmakers in Congress at the Capitol are weak and reminds the audience that he plans to contest the election at noon. He also brings up the state legislatures and that constitutionally they've got the authority to flip the election. Then Rudy Giuliani and John Eastman come up. Giuliani begins by saying the plan for today is perfectly legal. He says that the, quote, vice president can cast the election aside, end quote, and, quote, decide on the validity of these crooked ballots or send it back to the legislatures, end quote. And then he says, quote, let's have trial by combat, end quote. He says, quote, this election was stolen, end quote, and then, quote, we're going to fight to the very end to make sure that doesn't happen, end quote. Eastman came on stage and asserted once more that Pence had the power to delay the certification of the vote.
Is this Giuliani quote at all mentioned in the indictment where he lies and admits the lying?
Nope, that's a totally different court case. That has nothing to do with this.
I don't think it could be because he's not like lie. This isn't a lie.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's lying about the same sort of thing, though, no?
Well, yeah, but remember, to be sued for defamation, you've got to be sued by a person affected by the defamation.
Right. So the defamation is the voter box, right?
I guess, sure, yeah. Okay. Also, there's a link to this full speech at the very top. Speakers before Trump. I've got a full recording. If you click that, it's like 4 hours, but you can watch all the speakers go through and run through all their lines or whatever.
I do have a question.
Go.
So I think the natural response is going to be, okay, well, a lot of people use inflammatory language when they're talking about like fighting or combat. It doesn't necessarily mean they meant violence. Like, what would you say to that, first of all? And secondly, was there any like, was there like a moment in any of these speeches where they were like, don't be violent, don't hurt anyone, peaceful protest, you know what I mean?
I think there's exactly one quote kind of like that. We'll get to that. And then also I'll get to your question at the end because I think all of this is incorporated, yeah. Okay. Then you have Donald Trump's speech. Donald Trump spoke at the Ellipse for about an hour and 10 minutes, starting at 11:57 a.m. While he does, at one point in the speech, exactly one time, I think it's about 20 minutes in, he says, quote, "I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard," end quote. He spends the rest of the speech repeating four essential points to set the agenda for the day. One, he diligently recounts every single accusation of voter and election fraud, with almost every single claim at this point having been debunked or shot down by his own administration. I think he literally spends like 30 minutes like talking through every single fucking claim in this speech. Two, he reminds his supporters that they are close to losing their country due to an illegitimate election. Three, he calls out several times that Mike Pence is the only person who can save the Republicans. And then four, he constantly reminds those in Congress whom he helped run for election that they will lose their elections in the 2022 midterms if they don't support him. I wrote down like a collection of quotes basically from the speech, but I mean, like, there's a transcript that I've linked. You can go through all of it if you ever want. But like, we took them by surprise, and this year they rigged an election. They rigged it like they've never rigged an election before. All of us here today do not want to see our election victory stolen by emboldened radical left Democrats, which is what they are doing, and stolen by the fake news media. That's what they've done and what they're doing. We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved. And use a favorite term that all the people really came up with: we will stop the steal. Today, I will lay out just some of the evidence proving that we won this election, and we won it by a landslide. This was not a close election. We didn't lose. We will not let them silence your voice. We are not going to let it happen. I'm not going to let it happen. I think after he says this, the audience begins chanting, "Fight for Trump, fight." And he says, "Thank you." And Rudy, you did a great job. He's got guts. You know what? He's got guts. Unlike a lot of the people in the Republican Party, he's got guts. He fights and he fights. And he looked at Mike Pence, and I hope Mike is going to do the right thing. I hope so. I hope so, because if Mike Pence does the right thing, we win the election. All he has to do, all this is from the number one, or certainly one of the top constitutional lawyers in our country. He's talking about Eastman. He has the absolute right to do it. We are supposed to protect our country, support our Constitution, and protect our Constitution. States want to revolt. States want to revote. The states got defrauded. They were given false information. They voted on it. Now they want to recertify. They want it back. All Vice President Pence has to do is send it back to the states to recertify, and we become president, and you are the happiest people. And I just spoke to Mike. I said, "Mike, that doesn't take courage. What takes courage is to do nothing. That takes courage." And then we're stuck with a president who lost the election by a lot, and we have to live with that for 4 more years. We're just not going to let that happen. We've gathered together in the heart of our nation's capital for one very, very basic and simple reason: to save our democracy. For years, Democrats have gotten away with election fraud and weak Republicans, and that's what they are. They're so weak Republicans, or there's so many weak Republicans, and we have great ones. Jim Jordan and some of these guys, they're out there fighting. The House guys are fighting, but it's incredible. Many of the Republicans, I helped them get in. I helped them get elected. I helped Mitch get elected. I helped. And you have to get your people to fight. And if they don't fight, we have to primary the hell out of the ones that don't fight. You primary them. We're going to let you know who they are. I can already tell you, frankly. But this year, using the pretext of the China virus and the scam, I could go on. There's like 10 more quotes here, but it's all just like, who will not be intimidated into accepting the hoaxes and lies that we've been forced to believe. Over the past several weeks, we've amassed overwhelming evidence about a fake election. I've bolded the, I've bolded everything having to do, I think, with Pence, just because to see how many, for Pence, or like for throwing back the electoral certification, basically. Yeah, okay. And I don't have to read through all of this. And again, you can also, there are no other references to peaceful bullshit.
Whoa,
or
there's
whatever
just
in this
one
week.
really
What?
crazy quote I just want to read, because he just said we have to fight for the Constitution. This quote says, "The Republicans have to get tougher. You're not going to have a Republican Party if you don't get tougher. They want to play so straight. They want to play so, sir, yes, the United States. The Constitution doesn't allow me to send them back to the States. Well, I say, yes, it does. Because the Constitution says you have to protect our country." Like, he's literally here saying, like, well, the Constitution says I can't do it.
Sure.
Well, I say the Constitution does, because it says you have to protect our country and protect our Constitution. Like, it's a contradiction. Constitution says I can't do it. I say, yes, it does. I have to protect the Constitution.
Yeah.
Like, it's retarded.
Yeah. The final, I think the final quote of him at the end of this is, what is it? I don't know if I have this written down. I think this might be, yeah, this is the last thing. So we're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. I love Pennsylvania Avenue. And we're going to the Capitol, and we're going to try and give, the Democrats are hopeless. They never vote for anything, not even one vote. But we're going to try and give our Republicans, the weak ones, because the strong ones don't need any of our help, we're going to try and give them the kind of pride and boldness that they need to take back our country. So let's walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. And And then he ends that speech. So this is, again, that I've got the full thing there. Maybe I could do like a video, I guess, compiling some of these quotes, but like there are no other calls to peace or anything like that in that speech ever. Okay. The next chunk is, okay, riot at the Capitol. So there's two groups of people that I think are good to be aware of. The first is the Proud Boys. So the Proud Boys were founded in 2016 by Gavin McInnes. They gained national notoriety after their presence during the Charlottesville Unite the Right rally, which resulted in the death of Heather Heyer and sparked national outrage. McInnes distanced himself from the movement after they became increasingly radical and violent from 2018 to 2021. Enrique Tarrio was the chairman of the Proud Boys. And then for a similar time period, Joe Biggs was the leader. During one of the 2020 presidential debates, Chris Wallace asked Donald Trump if he would denounce the Proud Boys and other far-right groups. But Donald Trump's reply was for the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by. Do we want to watch this clip again to make sure it's yeah, we do. Click it. It's like a minute and a half.
All right.
Make sure you're set to 1.5. Let me know when you're ready to go.
Ready.
Ready.
All right.
Ready.
3, 2, 1, boom.
You have repeatedly criticized the vice president for not specifically calling out Antifa and other left-wing extremist groups. But are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
are you
I'm willing
prepared
to do
specifically
that,
do it? Well, go ahead,
I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing.
So what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it. Do you want to call them? What do you want to call them? Give me a name. Give me a
White
name. Go ahead.
supremacists and
Who would
right
you like me to condemn?
white supremacists and right
Proud
Boys.
Stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left wing. This is a left-wing problem.
White supremacists. Antifa's an idea.
Okay, we can pause there. You can, but that's a famous quote from Trump that a lot of people get kind of angsty about. My next paragraph, you can click the link for Parler. On Parler, Enrique's response to Trump's statement was that he was standing by, sir. And Joe Biggs posted, President Trump told the Proud Boys to stand by because someone needs to deal with Antifa. Well, sir, we're ready. I don't know if you guys, do any of you remember Parler?
Yeah, briefly.
It was like
I don't know when it ended, but it was there
Sure.
for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, you can click through. You can see these are the posts that they made on Parler. Joe Biggs, right? Proud Boys shout at the presidential debate. President Trump told the Proud Boys to stand by because someone needs to deal with Antifa. Well, sir, we're ready. Enrique Tarrio, standing by, sir. Joe Biggs. Trump basically said to go fuck them up. This makes me so happy. From November 5th afterwards, different Proud Boys members were posting inflammatory statements across their social media accounts. On November 6th, Tarrio posted a message that read, the media constantly accuses us of wanting to start a civil war. Careful what the fuck you ask for. We don't want to start one, but we sure as fuck finish one. On November 12th, he posted, fuck unity, no quarter, raise the black flag. On November 16th, if Biden steals this election, the Proud Boys will be political prisoners. We won't go quietly, I promise. On the 25th, he posted a social media post by Joe Biden that stated, we need to remember we're at war with a virus, not with each other. Tarrio then posted, no, you need to remember the American people are at war with you. No Trump, no peace, no quarter. From at least in or around November 2020, these are other members, Nordine, Biggs, and Ryle, I think, used their platform as regional leaders of the Proud Boys to publicly post statements in response to the projected results of the 2020 election. We don't have to go through all of those. Scrolling down. In December 2020, Enrique Tarrio created a new chapter of the Proud Boys called the Ministry of Self-Defense. In the following signal groups and chats, Enrique Tarrio and other members would plan for the day of January 6th and how they would execute their role in the insurrection. An early blueprint for this, called 1776 Returns, was given to Enrique Tarrio on December 30th and used to outline the events that would follow from January 1st to January 6th. The 1776 Returns document, you can click it at some point if you want, but it just goes through like holding basically buildings captive in the Capitol before until like the president like calls some like insurrection bullshit. It's some wacky plan. I say wacky plan, but I guess
I see. It says overall goal: fill the buildings with patriots and communicate our demands. They said they want to get a bunch of Senate office buildings. One of them just says CNN at least egg doorway. Are they trying to take control of like a CNN building?
There's a CNN building there. He's saying they should at least egg the doorway, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a funny addition. Okay.
Yeah. Enrique Tarrio was notified that he was ordered to leave D.C. within 24 hours on January 5th. He and Stuart Rhodes met on the night of January 5th. Stuart Rhodes is the leader of the Oath Keepers, to speak about what would happen the next day, referring to the event the next day as an insurrection. If you want, you can click, I think, on... you can click that insurrection thing. This is a 2 minute and 20 second video. We can put it at 1.5. Let me know when you're ready to go. Just as a reminder, Enrique Tarrio is the leader of the Proud Boys, and Stuart Rhodes is the leader of the Oath Keepers. We'll get to who they are next. Ready?
Ready.
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Ready for the car. I need the.
Some of it's hard to hear in the beginning. I think it changes later on, I think. I think the two people hugging, I think that's Tarrio and Rhodes.
So,
I want you to meet this Lieutenant Kelly. She's from Texas.
pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Susan, how are you?
Hey, Stuart, pleasure's all mine.
Hey, listen.
Oh, no, that's Stuart. My
You
bad.
need a vehicle to
No,
talk. Do they know what you're driving? Do they know what you're driving?
It doesn't matter. I'm sure that even if they were to come by right now, I'm on my way out. So I literally just picked up my bags.
So I thought they told you 24
They didn't
hours.
give me the 24 hours. They didn't want. The reason why they did that is that they didn't want me to go to tomorrow's event.
Okay.
Is that your camera? Yeah. Okay. Those are my guys.
Okay. So you don't need anything right now. Do you need anything?
No, I'm good. You going on Virginia side? I'm gonna go on the other side. I'm gonna go to Maryland. You're going north.
The Maryland?
Yeah. I was gonna go to the VA side, but a lot of my guys are on the Maryland side.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense.
Well, they're also shutting down that bridge across
From Maryland?
Virginia.
Yeah, that's why. That's one of the reasons. I'm gonna drive back down to Miami. I don't want to get on a plane right now.
It's
I just
no.
don't.
I don't blame you.
You're gonna drive back to Miami?
Dude, some stops.
I'm gonna go with
I'm
Amy.
gonna rent a car tomorrow. Okay.
I'm gonna stay close just to make sure my guys are okay.
And I'm gonna
So
shoot
it's tomorrow, and I got a lot of stuff to do tomorrow.
Okay. I'm
gonna come in and shoot tomorrow. That's why I didn't
Dr. Ashley.
Ashley, yeah, we've met before.
Oh, that's right. I used to.
Sorry, was that
Ozzy,
It's okay. Listen, all I was going to say is no one's going to get to him.
I cleared that up before you
That's all I was trying to say.
you did?
Okay, I don't know why
What
I
is
put
the
this.
significance of this video exactly?
Hold on. Yeah, wait. I don't know why I put insurrection in quotes here. I don't think this is the right quote for this.
Yeah,
This
that,
is
the video is just them hanging out.
well. Hold on. This video is on the night of January 5th, early morning, January 6th. This is Enrique Tarrio, the leader of the Proud Boys, meeting with Stuart Rhodes, and they're just kind of like chatting about like the events going on tomorrow.
Telling him to leave.
So Enrique Tarrio was ordered to leave because the police caught him, and he was apparently tied to, I think, the burning of a banner or something the night before. If you look up a little bit where it says he was ordered to leave DC, that's the court order that said that he has a no contact order, stay away from DC for the next 24 hours. That goes through. I think it was because I thought I read that he was like accused of like burning a BLM flag or something. They just wanted him to leave or something because he wasn't allowed to be there until he came back to court or something.
It just seems like all that video shows is that he was like they.
What?
It seems like all that video shows is them being like you.
Yeah. Nothing bad. It's just showing that they're there in DC. That's it. There's nothing bad is technically happening in this video. Yeah, it's just establishing that both people are there. I'm trying to think of if we.
I think a useful thing here would be because you're introducing so many characters. To have like hyperlinks in here to like their headshot or something, just like what they look like. So like when I hear Enrique Tarrio, I'm like, okay, that guy, or like that
How
guy. You know?
yeah? How necessary is this? I guess keep going.
I've got a video from the New York Times here. We won't watch this yet, but I'll keep going. Okay, we'll go through the Oath Keepers. Hold on.
I would say this is probably the first part of the whole thing that feels a little padded.
What do you mean by padded?
Like a little too much.
Oh, maybe, yeah. We'll get there. Yeah. By the end, you can tell me if you feel that way. Yeah. Okay. So the Oath Keepers were founded in 2009 by Elmer Stuart Rhodes. While it's hard to know their exact numbers, law enforcement estimates that they have around 5,000 members, around 5,000 in numbers, with many of the group being former military or law enforcement. After the election, Rhodes began to amp up the rhetoric, calling for some sort of organized resistance to the outcome of the presidential election. In a November 9th meeting, including other prominent Oath Keepers members, Kelly Meggs and William Todd Wilson. There are a lot of names here, but they're not really that important yet. Or I don't know if they'll even be important, but Stewart encouraged people to step up their actions in defending Trump. Quote, you could stand there saying, we're going to defend the president, the duly elected president, and we call on him to do what needs to be done to save our country. And if you don't, guys, you're going to be in a bloody, bloody civil war and you can call it an insurrection or you can call it a guerrilla fight, end quote. That November 9th meeting, if you click, it's like a court transcript, basically, of a transcription of a group phone call that they were on. The Oath Keepers began to post more and more aggressively on their website, calling for violent confrontation in the Capitol to oppose the outcome of the election. I've just captured screenshots from the website. There's an advertisement for a November 14th rally. There's a December 12th ad to call about how they had to resist the election. There's a January 5th advertisement to show up for the Capitol defense. And then the Oath Keepers began training their members to coordinate for combat and support roles during January 6th. They organized several different QRFs, they call them quick reaction forces, to resupply fighters during the insurrection if active fighting began. The day before, for example, Edward Vallejo had wheeled in weapons and equipment into a hotel nearby to be ready to resupply. I've cut out like a ton of like stuff from this, but you can just click this window or click this link for the wheeled in thing.
Prosecutors all.
Let me know if you've clicked it, and then we can 1.5 it. Let me know when you're ready.
I clicked it.
All right.
Ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
Offered surveillance photos, they say, show Vallejo wheeling the stockpile into a hotel near the Capitol, where he allegedly waited for orders from the leader of the Oath Keepers to join the melee with other Quick Reaction Force members. Prosecutors also reference.
Okay, you're gonna quiet. It was just a picture. There's other videos of him too, but basically they've got like a bunch of people that are kind of like wheeling weapons and stuff around outside of DC, like waiting for calls to like start wheeling stuff in when the fighting begins. Essentially, is like what the Oath Keepers were doing. I've got like.
So I think part of the problem with this section is like you're citing like some like news place, right? And like obviously I'm not, and they also use the word allegedly in that. If these guys are charged, I feel like you should like use stuff that shows that they were charged and like this definitely happened, because it says allegedly. I feel like a lot of people are gonna be able to look at this and be like, oh, that's not really what happened. They were carrying lima beans and they're fucking.
Yeah, you're giving us B-roll instead of the actual.
True. Yeah. I mean, like everything that's coming out here is like, so the notes that I'm drawing from are literally from the indictment. So if you click below, it's notes for the indictment from Stuart Rhodes III. That's where all this information is coming from. And then above for the Enrique Tarrio stuff, if you scroll up, it's I think I've got a quote that says page 4 of the indictment.
Which indictment?
Well, there's one indictment for Tarrio and there's another indictment for Stuart Rhodes.
Okay.
Yeah, so these are the two leaders of these respective groups that are going to be very active on January 6th. Okay, it's just a little bit of basically background on these two groups. These are the two most organized groups on January 6th, and they're going to be the guys that are like kind of like one is actively involved in a lot of stuff and the other could have been actively involved in a lot of spooky stuff but didn't come to pass. I think that Okay, I'm going to leave that there for now, and then we're just going to run through the timeline of the day, basically, okay? And then we'll go back, and there's a video to watch on this, basically. Okay. Timeline. Okay. You're on the timeline section?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Timeline. Okay. The insurrection on January 6th would see the attempted culmination of multiple parties plotting multiple things, all running concurrently with each other. Donald Trump would encourage and then utilize the violence of the day in an attempt to pressure lawmakers to refuse the certification of the election results. He would repeatedly ignore requests throughout the day to tell his supporters to stop the rioting, only sending out a tweet to encourage them to go home 3 hours after the rioting began. Giuliani and other members around Trump would continue to further actions in order to refuse certification of the vote in Congress. The Proud Boys would meet as planned in the morning, then head to the Capitol building to lead the initial violent break-ins past cop lines and into the locked building via breaking through a window. And then the Oath Keepers, after spending the prior day stationing multiple stockpiles of arms, ammunition, and other equipment with quick reaction teams nearby, would make their way in and out of the Capitol, waiting for an opportune moment to strike. So I've got this timeline, basically, I've got 4 different colored actions here. So red, these are Donald Trump's actions. Basically, it's just showing a complete and total abdication of responsibilities to ensure the safety of the Capitol and a willingness to take advantage of the violence in furtherance of the attempted coup. 2 is in furtherance of the coup. These are lawmakers, Trump campaign staff, and other staff, and his lawyers attempting to pressure people to go along with the coup, so basically to reject the vote or at least to delay it. 3 in green, these are the Proud Boys operating that day. The actions on January 6th, especially initial gathering, plus breach of the Capitol grounds. And then 4 in purple are the Oath Keepers operating. These actions on January 6th, especially in the quick response or quick reaction force staged with hundreds of firearms nearby ready for action. Okay, and then it's just like a read down basically of like the time this stuff is happening. On January 6th at 6 a.m., there's a video of people who began to construct a gallows outside of the Capitol. Not a huge thing, but it's kind of spooky. At 6:27 a.m., Stuart Rhodes, the Oath Keepers leader, messaged the Oath Keepers leadership signal chat and informed them that they would have several well-equipped quick reaction forces, people ready to supply weapons, ammunition, and other combat gear right outside of D.C. At 7:30 a.m., Mark Meadows texts Representative Jim Jordan, "I've pushed for this, but I'm not sure if it's going to happen." This is in reference of what they hope to happen today, which is like to delay the certification of the vote. At 8:17 a.m., Donald Trump tweets, states want to correct their votes, which they now know were based on irregularities and fraud, plus corrupt process, never received legislative approval. All Mike Pence has to do is send them back to the states and we win. Do it, Mike. This is a time for extreme courage. At 8:22 a.m., Trump tweets, the Republican Party, and more importantly, our country, needs the presidency more than ever before. The power of the veto stays strong. Okay, before I said these are at 1 a.m., so these are at 8 a.m. Sorry, I fucked that up in that earlier thing. So 8:17, 8:22 a.m. At 8:30 a.m., so these are the Oath Keepers people, Rhodes and others departed a hotel in Virginia, heading to Washington, D.C. At 9 a.m., you get the start time for the March to Save America rally at the Ellipse. This is where all the speeches will take place. At about 10 a.m., a group of 100 Proud Boys began gathering near the Washington Monument. None of them were wearing the ordinary Proud Boys uniforms, with leadership equipped with radios and bullhorns to direct the group movements, consistent with plans made prior by Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio. So they'd said prior to this, like, listen, we're all going to show up. Make sure you bring radios. Make sure you bring equipment. Make sure you've got, like, vests and gas masks and everything else. Don't wear your ordinary uniforms. We don't want people to be able to identify us. At 10:15 a.m., White House Deputy Chief of Staff Tony Ornato informs Mark Meadows, Trump's White House Chief of Staff, that authorities at the Ellipse encountered attendees with weapons, including pistols, rifles, bear spray, and spears, according to Hutchinson's testimony to the January 6th committee. So when Trump was giving his speech at the Ellipse, like, most of the people aren't going through the magnetotron or whatever the fuck it's called, the magnetic detector. The vast majority of people are staying outside. At 10:30 a.m., about 200 to 300 Proud Boys begin marching towards the Capitol. At 10:47, Giuliani begins his speech at the Ellipse event, reiterating with Eastman that everything outlined by the plan today is perfectly legal and perfectly appropriate. And then he goes on to call for that, quote, trial by combat. Trump begins his speech at 11:58 a.m. At the Ellipse. In this speech, he pressures Republicans in Congress to challenge the vote certification, for Pence to refuse to certify the vote, and he reiterates tons of different false election fraud claims and riles the crowd up to fight like hell, or else they're not going to have a country anymore. At 12:30 in the afternoon, Senator Ron Johnson's aide attempts to get fake elector slates from Michigan and Wisconsin to the vice president, but he's refused by Pence's aide, Chris Hodgson. So some of the fake elector slates that they tried to mail in didn't make it in time. So Senator Ron Johnson's aide is like running these, and he's on video, like trying to get these fake electorate slates to Vice President Pence. But his aide shoots him down. He's like, "You're never doing this. We're not doing this." At 12:45. The FBI, Capitol Police, and the ATF respond to a pipe bomb found outside the RNC headquarters. The Secret Service would later go on to say both of these, they found two of them, were armed and active. They just didn't go off. At 12:53 p.m., the Proud Boys break through the outer perimeter and engage U.S. Capitol Police officers. This is the first breakthrough into any restricted area at the Capitol on January 6th. So this happens at 12:53 p.m. This is the first time any police line is broken, and it's by the Proud Boys, as they'd planned to do for weeks leading up to this event here. At 1 p.m., there's a joint session in Congress to certify the election results. At 1:02 p.m., Pence tweets out from his account a letter that includes the statement, quote, "It is my considered judgment that my oath to support and defend the Constitution constrains me from claiming unilateral authority to determine which electoral votes should be counted and which should not," end quote. At 1:07 p.m., a pipe bomb is found outside the DNC headquarters. Later reports, I think this came out just a week ago, confirm that Kamala Harris was within 20 feet of one of these pipe bombs. At 1:10 p.m., Trump's speech ends. He ends, and his ending words are, these are the ending words just pulled right from the end of the speech, are, "And we fight like hell, and if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. Our exciting adventures and boldest endeavors have not yet begun. My fellow Americans, for our movement, for our children, and for our beloved country. And I say this despite all that's happened, the best is yet to come. So we're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. I love Pennsylvania Avenue. And we're going to the Capitol, and we're going to try and give, the Democrats are hopeless. They never vote for anything, not even one vote. But we're going to try and give our Republicans, the weak ones, because the strong ones don't need any of our help. We're going to try and give them the kind of pride and boldness that they need to take back our country. So let's walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. I want to thank you all. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you all for being here. This is incredible. Thank you very much. Thank you." The protesters from Trump's speech were sent to the Capitol about 20 minutes after the first breach of the Capitol grounds by the Proud Boys. At 1:10 p.m., Stop the Steal leader Ali Alexander sends a text to Thomas Van Fleen, who's Representative Gozar's chief of staff, and he's outside basically watching the riot unfold, like in the early stages, saying, "I think you and your staff should maybe leave. This is hell out here." At 1:19 p.m., despite protests from Trump to attend the Capitol protest, because Trump wanted to go, the Secret Service says, "We can't do this. This is not secure," and then the motorcade takes him back to the White House. At 1:25 p.m., Trump begins to watch TV for 187 minutes during the riot. During this time, Trump would watch Fox News, he would make a few tweets, and he'd make several phone calls to Giuliani and some members of Congress to encourage lawmakers to continue to fight the certification. He never made any calls to law enforcement or to the National Guard to issue orders to stop the riots, and he repeatedly refused calls to do so from those that would go in and talk to him. In a later interview, Trump claimed that he wanted to go back and to stop the problem himself, but that he was refused. There's no evidence of this ever happening. This is not true. In the Senate, McConnell warned senators that rejecting the electoral vote could send American democracy into a death spiral. At 2:12 p.m., Stuart Rhodes, the leader of the Oath Keepers, entered the...
I do have a question.
God. Yep, go.
The citation for him watching TV during that part, what is the citation for that? Is that in the indictment?
He was live tweeting what he was seeing, I imagine.
We'll go down through this. There's a lot of testimony for that. But it'll come up as we go down through this. At 2:12 p.m., Stuart Rhodes, the leader of the Oath Keepers, entered the restricted Capitol grounds on the northeast side of the Capitol. At 2:13 p.m., Proud Boys member Dominic Pizzola breaches the Capitol building with a stolen riot shield. Michael Sparks, a 46-year-old man from Kentucky, was the first rioter to enter the Capitol building through the broken window. This is the very first time during the day that the actual Capitol building itself is breached by any rioter. So it was the Proud Boys that did the first line break, and then it was them that did the first break-in into the Capitol building. At 2:13 p.m., right after, the Senate is gavelled into recess, and Pence is removed from the Senate chambers, delaying the certification of the electoral vote. At 2:14, rioters outside are chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." When Trump was informed of this, according to testimony from Hutchinson, who's one of the aides in the White House, she said that Trump said Mike deserves it. At 2:15 p.m., the rioters reached the second floor, where USCP officer Eugene Goodman lured insurrectionists away from the open Senate chambers, chamber doors leading to the vice president's office, where Pence and his family were being held by the Secret Service. It'll come out later, but Pence refused to leave the Capitol because he didn't want the world to see the U.S. vice president fleeing the Capitol, according to testimony from Mr. Jacob to the January 6th committee. At 2:24 p.m., should we watch some of the videos accompanying this, or?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'd like to see him.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to. Okay, go back up to, I guess. Let's.
I didn't know Pence was in the. I didn't know Pence was in the building. I said he was.
Actually, here, let's do the 2:14. Rioters outside are chanting. Let's start there. Go ahead.
Okay.
Let me know when you're ready.
We witnessed.
I'll do 1.5 times. Let me know when you're at the very beginning.
Ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
We witnessed firsthand what happened when the President of the United States weaponized this theory. The Capitol was overrun. Police officers lost their lives. And the Vice President was taken to a secure location because his safety was in jeopardy. Let's take a look at the effect of Donald Trump's words and actions. I want to warn our audience that the video contains explicit content.
Mike Pence is going to have to come through for us. And if he doesn't, that will be a sad day for our country. And Mike Pence, I hope you're going to stand up for the good of our Constitution and for the good of our country.
So this is from the lip speech earlier.
And if you're not, I'm going to be very disappointed in you. I will tell you right now.
I'm telling you what, I'm hearing the Pence. I'm hearing the Pence just caved. No. Is that true? I'm hearing reports that Pence caved. No, I'm telling you, if Pence caved, we're going to drag through the streets. You politicians are going to get drugged through the streets. Yes.
I guess the hope is that there's such a show of force here that Pence will decide to do the right thing, according to Trump.
Bring it out! Bring it out! Bring out Pence! Bring him out! Bring out Pence! Bring it out! Bring out Pence! 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 Bring out Pence!
There's at 2:15 p.m. There's this Eugene Goodman clip. I actually think this one is kind of important to play. Slow this down to 125. I don't know how much.
What is this?
It's the one at 2:15 for Eugene Goodman lured insurrectionists.
Got it.
Slow this down to 1.25. I just want to explain this real quick because this gets brought up. I think I've seen this clip specifically brought up a lot to show that cops were luring the people through the building. So in this, by 2:15 p.m., they've already broken into the building and they start to stream in. As Goodman is coming up the stairs and he looks to the left, I don't have a map here, but to the left If you go down the hallway and look left, those are the Senate chambers. The door is open, and Pence and his family are right beyond, I'd say like maybe 10 or 20 yards from the door, right beyond in the next room. So you see him try to lure people away from that basically entrance, but you'll see that. So let me know when you guys are ready to start.
So he's in the Capitol.
Yeah, you'll see. 3, 2, 1, go.
It's often said that one person can make a difference, and that was never more true than last Wednesday at the U.S. Capitol. We get more now from CBS's Mark Strassman.
Bedlam, mayhem, and one cop, the last line of defense against a mob pushing forward. Eugene Goodman, an Army vet and U.S. Capitol Police officer.
How is there only one guy?
HuffPost reporter Igor Bobek shot the cell phone video.
This mob was carrying a Confederate flag. They were carrying another flag that had, Nazi swastikas emblazoned on them. It was a white mob charging at a black police officer.
Goodman sprinted up the stairs, the mob on his heels. He shouted in his radio. Second floor! Meaning the mob was reaching the Senate chamber. At the top of the stairs, Goodman looked left. Between those chairs, the doors to the Senate floor, still open. Here's the moment that mattered. Goodman pushed this mob leader wearing a black QAnon t-shirt. It was a ruse to lure them away from the Senate chamber, and there, finally, backup arrived.
It was his heroic actions that may have made a difference.
By then, the Senate chamber was sealed.
Okay, and then you can, the rest of that, go to the next video is, this is just, I guess, like testimony from U.S. Vice President fleeing the Capitol, according to testimony from Mr. Jacob. You want to click that one. This is, you can see, basically, Pence was, after he was evacuated from the Senate chamber, so after that event, he gets evacuated downstairs to the basement. The Secret Service, really want him to leave because they don't consider the area secure. You can put this at 1.5, and then we can just listen through maybe 2 minutes of this, I guess. Ready?
Mm-hmm. Ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
From the National Archives that show Vice President Pence sheltering in a secure underground location as rioters overwhelmed the Capitol. At 4:19 p.m., Vice President Pence is seen looking at a tweet the president had just sent, a tweet asking the rioters to leave the Capitol. After 4.5 hours spent on working to restore order, the Vice President returned to the Senate floor to continue the certification of electors.
So Vice President Pence was a focus of the violent attack. Mr. Jacob, did the Vice President leave the Capitol complex during the attack?
He did not.
Can you please explain why the Vice President refused to leave the Capitol complex?
When we got down to the secure location, Secret Service directed us to get into the cars, which I did, and then I noticed that the Vice President had not. So I got out of the car that I had gotten into, and I understood that the Vice President had refused to get into the car. The head of his Secret Service detail, Tim, had said, "I assure you we're not going to drive out of the building without your permission." And the Vice President had said something to the effect of, "Tim, I know you, I trust you, but you're not the one behind the wheel." And the Vice President did not want to take any chance that the world would see the Vice President of the United States fleeing the United States Capitol. He was determined that we would complete the work that we had set out to do that day, that it was his constitutional duty to see through, and that the rioters who had breached the Capitol would not have the satisfaction of disrupting the proceedings beyond the day on which they were supposed to be completed.
Let me see if I understand this right. You were told to get in the cars, and how many of the Vice President's staff got in the cars while he did not?
Most of us.
During our investigation, we received testimony.
Okay, again, pause that. So obviously Pence didn't want to leave because he didn't want to be seen as basically giving them the satisfaction of having delayed the election. So at 2:24 p.m., so this is going to be a Donald Trump tweet at 2:24, quote, "Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states a chance to certify a corrected set of facts, not the fraudulent or inaccurate ones, which they were asked to previously certify. The USA demands the truth," end quote. This tweet was made 1 hour and 30 minutes after the initial breach through the secured area onto the Capitol grounds, and about 10 minutes after the rioters had breached the actual Capitol building. And this tweet had been made after aides had spent 20 minutes trying to get him to release some kind of tweet telling people to calm down or go home. At 2:25 p.m., the rotunda doors into the Capitol building are breached. From 2:26 to 3:06 p.m., in a conversation to Representative McCarthy and others, Trump tells McCarthy that the people outside must be more upset than he is about the election results. He also calls other lawmakers to see if they can further delay the election certification. If you want, you can click this link. And is there a video for this? Oh my God, it's got a fucking ad. Hold on. Click the play thing and wait for the ad if you're a non-ad blocker loser like me.
No
Dude,
ad for me,
FIFA,
cock.
let's go.
You're owned.
Oh, it's Lowe's. My bad.
Fuck you. Fuck, there's probably a YouTube video of this
1.5
actually.
times speed.
Yeah. Set this to 1.5. I know there's a YouTube video of this. I should just have the YouTube video. Okay, let me know when you got it set.
Ready.
All right.
Still going through this ad. Sorry.
Oh yeah, you're good. You're good. Yeah, we'll wait for it. Okay.
Wait, can you set this to 1.25?
You can set it to 1.5, 1.5. Yeah, it's in the bottom right. It's there.
You're going to press the wheel.
Yeah.
Okay, set.
Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
We've heard this evening how everyone in the president's orbit was pushing him to do more, to tell the mob to leave the Capitol. One of those people was Republican leader Kevin McCarthy. He managed to get the president on the phone and told him to call off his supporters. As you will hear, the president refused, and so Leader McCarthy reached out for help to Ivanka Trump, who was at the White House, and Jared Kushner, who that afternoon had just arrived back on a flight from the Middle East.
So at some point in the afternoon, Mr. McCarthy placed a phone call to Mr. Scavino's desk line, and it was transferred to the president. Is that correct? That's generally what I recall. Okay. Were you involved in transferring that call? Yes. Okay. Where was the president at the time that he took that call? He was in the dining room.
Would you personally reach out to the president for more support?
I've already talked to the president. I called him. I think we need to make a statement, make sure that we can calm individuals down.
Did Mr. McCarthy indicate that he had been in touch with President Trump?
He indicated that he had some conversation. I don't recall whether it was with the president or somebody at the White House, but I think he expressed frustration that not taking the circumstances seriously as they should in that moment.
You know, I asked Kevin McCarthy, who's a Republican leader, about this, and he said he called Donald. He finally got through to Donald Trump, and he said, "You have got to get on TV. You've got to get on Twitter. You've got to call these people off." You know what the president said to him? This is as it's happening. He said, "Well, Kevin, these aren't my people. You know, these are Antifa." And Kevin responded and said, "No, they're your people. They literally just came through my office windows, and my staff are running for cover. I mean, they're running for their lives. You need to call them off." And the president's response to Kevin, to me, was chilling. He said, "Well, Kevin, I guess they're just more upset about the election, theft than you are." And that's, you've seen widespread reports of Kevin McCarthy and the president having basically a swearing conversation. That's when the swearing commenced, because the president was basically saying, I'm okay with this.
Leader McCarthy, the President of the United States has a briefing room steps from the Oval Office. The cameras are hot 24/7, as you know. Why hasn't he walked down and said that now?
I conveyed to the president what I think is best to do, and I'm hopeful the president will do it.
And have you spoken with his chief of staff?
I've spoken to the president. I've spoken to other people in there and to the White House as well.
Who else reached out to Ms. Trump that you know of that afternoon about the attack on the Capitol?
I believe at one point McCarthy did.
So I heard my phone ringing, turned the shower off, saw it was Leader McCarthy, who I had a good relationship with. He told me he was getting really ugly over at the Capitol and said, please, anything you can do to help, I would appreciate it. I don't recall specific asks, just anything you can do. Again, I got the sense that, they were scared.
They, meaning Leader McCarthy and people on the Hill, because of the violence?
He was scared, yes.
Okay. At 2:26, Trump calls Senator Mike Lee by accident, trying to get a hold of Senator Tuberville. Mike passes the phone over to Tuberville, where him and Trump chat for a few minutes. At 2:28, Mark Meadows begins to receive text messages begging him to ask Trump to send the people home. So on this section, these are just like a collection of like texts that Mark Meadows, this is Trump's chief of staff, it like starts to get over the next like hour and a half, 2 hours, I think. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Mark, I was just told there's an active shooter on the first floor of the Capitol. Please tell the president to calm people. This isn't the way to solve anything. Laura Ingraham, host on Fox News. Hey, Mark, the president needs to tell people at the Capitol to go home. This is hurting all of us. He's destroying his legacy, playing into every stereotype. We lose all credibility against the BLM and Antifa crowd if things go south. You can tell him I said this. Mick Mulvaney texts Meadows. Mark, he needs to stop this now. Can I do anything to help? Barry Loudmilk, a representative. It's really bad up here on the Hill. They have breached the Capitol. Mark Meadows responded. The president is engaging. Loudmilk responded, thanks. This doesn't help our cause. William Timmons, the president needs to stop this ASAP. Meadows responded 3 minutes later, we're doing it. Donald Trump Jr., his son, texts Mark Meadows, he's got to condemn this shit ASAP. The Capitol Police tweet is not enough. Meadows responded, I am pushing it hard, I agree. Later, Trump continued, this is one you go to the mattress on. They will try to fuck his entire legacy on this if it gets worse. This is a unnamed person. Are you at the POTUS right now? Hearing he's in the dining room watching this on TV. Is he going to say anything to de-escalate apart from that tweet? Former White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus, tell them to go home. Another unnamed person. POTUS should go on air and diffuse this. Extremely important. Former White House Strategic Comms Director Alyssa Farah. POTUS has to come on firmly and tell protesters to dissipate. Someone is going to get killed. Representative Chip Roy, fix this now. Sean Hannity, can he make a statement? I saw the tweet. Ask people to peacefully leave the Capitol. Meadows responded on it. Another unknown, please have POTUS call this off at the Capitol. Urge rioters to disperse. I pray to you. Fox News host Brian Kilmeade, please get him on TV. He's destroying everything you guys have accomplished. Trump Jr., again, we need an Oval Address. He has to lead now. It's gone too far and gotten out of hand. Those are just like some of the tweets that Mark Meadows would get over the next couple hours. At 2:38 p.m., Donald Trump tweets, quote, please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful, end quote. This tweet was 1.5 hours after the initial breach of the Capitol grounds and about 25 minutes after the breach of the Capitol building itself. This tweet wasn't even written by Trump, but it was written and posted by Scavino, which is his aide. They had been begging him to make tweets. He wouldn't do it. Finally, somebody authored one and he agreed. He was like, fine, fuck it, send it out. And Scavino was the guy that ended up posting this tweet. At 2:40 p.m., stack one of the Oath Keepers, Kelly Meggs, Kenneth Harrelson, Jessica Watkins, Joseph Hackett, and David Marshall enter the breached rotunda doors on the east side of the Capitol. At 2:42, Pelosi in a secure area ponders how to maintain some sense of security and confidence in the American presidential vote after the rioters have managed to delay the certification of the election. If you want, we can click on Pelosi's video, 2:42. I think we can watch like a minute of this. Set it to like 1.5 times. Let me know when you got it open.
What? Just the 00 timestamp?
Yeah. Pelosi in a secure area, yeah.
What's that?
3, 2, 1, go.
We're starting to get surrounded. They're taking the north front scaffolding. We're not going to be able to hold.
The door has been breached. We're gaining access into the Capitol.
We have got to finish the proceedings or else it will not become tricky.
Senator Schumer is at a secure location, and they're locked down in the Senate.
There has to be some way we can maintain the sense that people have that there's some security or some confidence that government can function and that we can elect the President of the United States. Did we go back into session?
We did go back into session, but now apparently everybody on the floor is putting on tear gas masks to prepare for a breach. Well, I'm trying to get more information.
They're putting on their
tear gas masks.
Okay, we can exit there. After Pelosi makes this statement, around 2:42, I think she says this, 2:44, Ashley Babbitt is shot by Capitol Police after attempting to force her way into a broken door window into the Speaker's lobby. I think this is important to click and watch because a lot of people will say that she got shot randomly, that she wasn't trying to get through, that nobody was being threatened or whatever. I think it's an important video just to have in the back of your head for that. You can put it on 1.5. Let me know when you got it at 50. Let me know when you're ready. Yeah.
Ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go. So if you want at some point later to go back, but you can see that she was like jumping up. She was like, or not jumping, but she was like stepping up and trying to climb through that window. And then she gets shot by I think it's Capitol Police on the other side. That's at 2:44 p.m. At 3:13 p.m., Donald Trump tweets, quote, I am asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. No violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men and women in blue. Thank you, end quote. This tweet was sent out 2 hours and 20 minutes after the restricted grounds were breached by the Proud Boys, 1 hour after the Capitol building was broken into, and 30 minutes after Ashley Babbitt had been shot in the Capitol. At 3:14 p.m., stacked 2 of the Oath Keepers, including Joshua James, Robert Menuda, and Brian Ulrich, entered through the same rotunda doors and violently pushed past officers. At 4:17 p.m., Donald Trump finally tweets out a video, and then this is the one of like, I know your pain, I know you're hurt, we had an election that was stolen from us, it was a landslide election, and everyone knows it, especially the other side, but you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt. It's a very tough period of time. There's never been a time like this where such a thing happened, where they could take it all away from us, from me, from you, from our country. This is a fraudulent election. We can't play into the hands of these people. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special. We've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel, but go home and go home in peace. He won't
even condemn them even here.
Yep. 3 takes were done for this.
He's like, I love you. You're special. That's crazy.
And this was done 3 hours after the initial break-in. At 4:32 p.m., after hours of requests from multiple parties, Secretary of Defense Christopher Miller finally authorized the National Guard to deploy. At 5:07 p.m., after 12 attempts over the hour to get through, Giuliani finally reaches Trump by phone. After a 12-minute phone call with Donald Trump, Giuliani, over the next 3 hours, calls Senators Marsha Blackburn, Mike Lee, Bill Hagerty, Lindsey Graham, Josh Hawley, Ted Cruz, and Dan Sullivan, as well as Representative Jim Jordan, in an effort to get them to delay the certification of the election. At 6 p.m., the United States Capitol Police declares the Capitol building clear of protesters, and a curfew in D.C. comes into effect. At 6:01 p.m., Trump tweets, "These are the things and events that happen when a sacred landslide election victory is so unceremoniously and viciously stripped away from great patriots who have been badly and unfairly treated for so long. Go home with love and in peace. Remember this day forever." 7:02 p.m., Giuliani tries calling numerous members of Congress in the hour before the joint session resumed. He left a voicemail for Senator Tuberville. You can click this if you want to get an idea of like what he was probably calling people for. Set it to 1.5. It's 1 minute and 50 seconds. Let me know when you're ready.
Ready.
3.
Ready.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1, go.
Senator Tuberville, or I should say Coach Tuberville, this is Rudy Giuliani, President's lawyer. I'm calling you because I want to discuss with you how they're trying to rush this hearing and how we need you, our Republican friends, to try to just slow it down so we can get these legislatures to get more information to you.
Pause for a second. So remember, Giuliani is making this phone call and leaving this after people have gotten back into the Capitol, after the riots, after the police have cleared things out, after Ashley Babbitt has been shot, after everything's happened. These are the phone calls that Giuliani is now making to people that are coming back into session to resume certifying the vote. Sorry, okay.
So they're still trying to extend it.
Yes. So, okay. So we're going to play again. 3, 2, 1, go.
And I know they're reconvening at 8 tonight. But the only strategy we can follow is to object to numerous states and raise issues so that we get ourselves into tomorrow, ideally until the end of tomorrow. I know McConnell is doing everything he can to rush it, which is kind of a kick in the head, because it's one thing to oppose us. It's another thing not to give us a fair opportunity to contest it. He wants to try to get it down to only three states that we contest. There are 10 states that we contest, not 3. So if you could object to every state and along with the congressman get a hearing for every state, I know we would delay you a lot, but it would give us the opportunity to get the legislators who are very, very close to pulling their votes, particularly after what McConnell did today. It angered them because they had written letters asking that you guys adjourn and send them back the questionable ones, and they'll fix them up. So this phone number, I'm available on all night, and it would be an honor to talk to you. Thank you.
Wow.
So they were like, there were different lawmakers that Giuliani called. I believe Trump made phone calls as well, but because of Trump executive privilege, you can't touch those phone calls. So the J6 committee wasn't allowed to investigate those, but he was supposedly making calls.
To be clear, Giuliani is not a member of government, right?
Giuliani is only operating as Trump's personal assistant here. Correct. He has no official member in the United States government whatsoever.
He's
correct.
Just his lawyer.
Correct. Well, criminal partner, really, but yes. At 8:05 p.m., Pence enters the Senate chambers to resume the count. At 9 p.m., Nancy Pelosi reopens the House. And then going into the next morning, at 3:32 a.m., Congress completes the counting of the electoral votes, with Vice President Pence affirming the results of the election. At 7:10 p.m. the next night, on January 7th, Donald Trump tweets out a video. If you want, you can click this. We don't have to watch this. But basically, he says that, like, oh, well, I tried to call the National Guard immediately. I wanted to stop things immediately, but they wouldn't let me. Something even more interesting, though, is the second link I have in here, where they're doing outtakes. They're doing outtakes for this video.
I'll do this. I'm going to do it.
With this video that ends up getting tweeted out. Click the outtake. It says refuses to acknowledge. Let me know once you've clicked that, and just leave it on normal playback speed. I think we don't have to watch like 20 seconds.
I missed that.
What?
It's not the Twitter link we're looking at?
So you see Trump tweets, it's the next link
Yeah.
right after that. Refuses to acknowledge.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like retarded right now.
We know.
Is this
Tom, it's
6:01?
7:10
now?
Okay, I got it. Ha ha ha.
Yeah. Wait, do you have the
All right,
link, Warren?
I'm ready.
Sorry, is it 7:02 you said?
7:10.
6:01. 7:10.
Yeah, 710. It's the refuses to acknowledge that underlined text.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Insurrection.
And then
risk.
this is where he's like, for that Trump tweets, the video that he just did, these are the outtakes for that video, okay? So, all right. 3, 2, 1, go.
I'll do this. I'm going to do this. Let's go. But this election is now over. Congress has certified the results. I don't want to say the election's over. I just want to say Congress has certified the results without saying the election's over, okay?
But Congress is certified. Now Congress is
Yeah,
certified.
right.
Now Congress
I
is
didn't say over, so let me see. Go to the paragraph before.
Yeah. Okay. That's my time on this if you want.